This project illustrates just how effectively old scrap materials can be reutilized to make really cool stuff. I wanted to make an awesome bed for my daughter, but the materials alone were going to cost me about $700. So I raided my own scrap piles, got some stuff from Facebook Marketplace, and even got some stuff from some old pallet yards. And I knew it would be a lot of extra work and would entail some natural hazards, but after all was said and done, I ended up at about $110 for this whole project. We'll be back right after this. Do you ever worry about being too healthy? Sometimes I do, so I smoke cigars. Well, if you're like me, you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on nice cigars, so I only smoke the cheapest I can find. Cheap cigars for smoking. Okay, so after gathering all the wood, the next step was to take the photo of the bed that my daughter wanted and try to redesign it in a way that would allow me to use all the materials I had gathered and ending up with as little waste as possible. The next step was to take that creativity and put it into practice by cutting all the materials to the right sizes and specifications, which was difficult because I was dealing with different types of wood, different thicknesses of material, and so on. Next step in creativity was figuring out ways to join all these suboptimal pieces together to make a strong frame for the bed. One quick note, it's always good to use solid material to kind of trim out the edges of plywood. It just gives it a much cleaner look. I was short on stuff, so I had to go back to the drawing board a little bit here and use these garbage pieces of plywood in order to create another shelf. But I found a great way of joining the shelves together by using sort of half slots in order to let them slide together and make sort of a honeycomb structure. Next, I built the outside frame of the staircase slash bookcase, and then I dry fit all my slotted shelves just to make sure everything would fit properly. Once that was done, it was time to install it inside the frame that I had built and then test its durability. So I'm about 210 pounds, so I figured if each step here could hold my weight, then it would be okay for all the kids. Next, I cut some deep channels or dados into these pieces that I was going to use to cap the railing, just to give it a cleaner look. A lot of work, but I think worth it in the end. Next, I went ahead and assembled the railing. So when you're using old scrap wood, sanding takes on a much larger role. The belt sander was my best friend. Wood filler, probably my second best friend. And between the two of them, I kind of realized at a certain point that in a project like this, you cease to become a carpenter and you become more of a sculptor. The wood filler actually comprised 25% of this project's cost. Still cheaper than lumber though. So I used more channels, more dados in the rails to the bed, and then I cut out all my balusters and also some spacers, and then I ended up putting those together to make the headboards, the footboards, and the side rails for the top bunk. This unique project also gave me the opportunity to try out my latest invention, the reciprosander, which was not very effective. Back to hand sanding. Also in this project, I got to use for the first time threaded inserts to facilitate the taking apart of this massive piece of furniture and putting it back together. Hours and hours of painting long into the night. Finally, we assembled it in my daughter's room. And here you can see more or less the finished project. Now, the queen mattress is 60 wide by 80 long. And since I made the bottom is my base and it's made to fit that type of mattress, I couldn't very well make the top smaller without a lot of really difficult engineering. The issue is that the twin mattress is some 10 inches shorter than the queen. And so I have to figure out something to go in here. And so what I've done is I've built this box to kind of fill the space. And so the really cool thing, the extra thing about this is if you look at it from the underside, what I've done is kind of make this little secret-ish compartment. It's not super clandestine, but it's cool. So I took these old drawer slides from an old kitchen remodel that I just threw in a drawer. Then if you look in here, there's a shelf towards the back where she can put all sorts of, fun things and, probably some contraband. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, this is cute. This is great while she's 9. What if she starts using it for nefarious purposes? She puts candy and stuff in there, and that attracts ants and rats, and all of a sudden we've got a rat infestation. What if she turns into a teenager? What is she going to put in there? Assorted drugs or something. What if she's running a drug business out of her room? What if she puts a boy in there and hides him or something like that? Life, you got to take some risks. And this is one that I'm okay taking because, yeah, it's a secret compartment. But guess who built that secret compartment? Knows exactly where it is and will probably be checking it from time to time just to make sure there's no drugs. All right, so let's get this thing painted. But first, a quick word from our sponsors. A lot of times when I am working on a job, I find myself very thirsty. And when I get thirsty, I need something to drink water from. You can always drink from a hose or a sink if that's nearby, but sometimes it's helpful to have something to kind of like a temporary reservoir for the water that you drink. And so what I use is cups. Cups come in all shapes, sizes. It's just amazing. And so I always use cups for drinking water when I am working on a project. Cups can also be used to hold other types of beverages. Cups for drinking. Are you all snuggled up? What do you think of your new bed, huh?
That's a really pretty color.
Yeah, that was a great color you chose. I'm glad you like it. Nothing's too good for my baby. So you like your garbage bed?
What?
Nothing. It's just nothing. Don't worry about it, baby.
Why did you call it a garbage bed?
Um, well, instead of buying all the lumber, I just kind of took it out of dumpsters and stuff like that, and I cleaned it up. I did upset some raccoons though, so hopefully they're not going to come back for it, huh? Anyway, love you. Good night.